Into this house of memory and hope we gather. We do not always do all that our hearts command, but life is ever generous with new opportunities for love and daring. Do any of you know what a superhero is? Do any of you have a favorite superhero? Yeah. Yeah. That. Great. Do you know what a superhero is? Yes, you know. One more? Say it again. Ah. Wow. And I bet some of you have favorite superheroes, and I bet some of you know that in our church school, our children learn about Unitarian Universalist superheroes. But I'm not going to talk about them here. I'm going to talk a little bit about something that happened in a 4th grade class. Good for you. And that was a class where Mr. Cohen was the teacher, but all the kids argued with each other. They fought, they argued. Do any of you ever have kids argue in class? Well, yes, few answers. Well, Mr. Cohen couldn't stop. They would fight over who stood in line for fight, argue. They would not quit. Mr. Cohen couldn't get them to stop. So he thought he would go and get some advice from his rabbi. Mr. Cohen was Jewish, and the rabbi is similar to me. I'm a minister, but a rabbi is a leader of the Jewish congregation. So he told his rabbi all about this. And she said, don't go to school on Monday morning. I will take care of this. And so on Monday morning, she came to the class, and the kids were arguing. They were fighting. Why wasn't Mr. Cohen there? Maybe they fired him because he behaved so badly. They argued. And finally, when they were all done, the rabbi said, you know, I have one thing to teach you. One, I dreamt last night that God told me there is a superhero in this classroom. A superhero who will change the world. And the kids, of course, they immediately started arguing about who the superhero was. And Bobby couldn't be Bobby because he's so mean. It couldn't be Kathy. Kathy always pushes herself to the front of the line. And they argued and they argued. And then finally, they were lining up. And they were fighting for who was going to be first in line. Kathy was trying to knock Bobby out of the way. And all of a sudden it occurred to Kathy, maybe Bobby's the superhero. I better let him go first. So she put herself second in line. And that's what happened all the rest of the years, all the rest of the time. The realize any one of them could be the superhero. As we learned last Friday, the world is a very dangerous place. As people were murdered in the Tree of Life Synagogue, it was very clear just how dangerous it is. You know, we stand before mystery we will never understand. And each of us has experiences which teach that we have a need that goes beyond ourselves. When we recognize this, when we feel the chaos that surrounds us, when we feel out of control, these words from William Butler Yeats make sense. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Unitarian William Butler Yeats wrote and published these lines in the Transcendentalist magazine, The Dial. And here's something very interesting. A 2016 analysis from Factiva showed that the lines from this poem were quoted more often in the first 7 months of 2016 than in any of the preceding 30 years. In the aftermath of Donald Trump's election, commentators repeatedly invoked the lines, "Things fall apart. The center cannot hold." We can understand this uncertainty in the context of a ministerial transition. Ministers do come and go, but why don't they have the grace to leave things the way they are? And why do they make ridiculous changes? We like the way things work. Why change a perfectly good service or perfectly good way of doing things? Why suggest that we should dance when any one of those we do not dance? Vagabond ministers may believe their experiences taught them something, but the truth is, you have your way of doing things. but it always works. Let's face it, when a different minister comes, interim or settled, things fall apart. What sometimes goes through the head of Unitarian Universalists when ministers change, not here, of course, is that we just wish things would stay the same. There's a Zen koan, a teaching tale that takes this up. A monk asked the master, what should he do when things come in all directions? And the master said, hold to the center. Another way to put this, I was walking home and unexpectedly it started to rain. I hadn't planned on rain. I didn't know what to do. We can all relate to circumstances like that. Makes us feel like we've lost our center. The point of this koan is simple. When heavy rain and violent winds assault you, you know, even in the midst of the confusion, even as part of something that you had not planned, you know you ought to seek shelter. How is it that we know we have to seek shelter when we are surprised by rain, but we can't help feeling lost when other situations confront us? Ironically, we accept there is much in life we can't control, but we indulge a fantasy that some things like church, orders of service, the choir, the robes, that they are secure. Difficult circumstances, political upheaval, the sudden loss of a loved one, a ministerial transition make us feel suddenly unstable. But actually, according to the Buddha, things are always unstable. It's just that we have a tendency to live from a set of unquestioned beliefs that make our lives feel solid. We believe politics will always operate according to the status quo, that people won't be barred from voting. For instance, we believe our children will outlive us, or our plans for the future will come to fruition. The truth is, once you start to pay careful attention to the nature of life, you begin to question all your beliefs. How can you know what will happen next? You can't, because the universe, from its tiniest particles to its largest form, is continuously in flux. The Master says, when the unexpected things happen, as a ministerial transition, seek shelter. Find a new center. Not just the Zen Master saying this, it's also what folk rock group Florida Georgia Line calls seeking the holy, in a recent hit with these lines. You are my saving grace. You're my kind of church. You're holy. You can't hold the center when stuff happens, but you can find shelter. In fact, you can find shelter in a church, a holy church. Did you know that the root words, Proto-Indo-European root words of the word holy, mean shelter, safety, and wholeness. Shelter, safety, and wholeness. Which leads to the question, which I will talk about in my sermon, where is our holy church? The word church, derives from the Hebrew word for deepness, current, and the Arabic root for gathering, kanashah. So, in its guts, a church is a deep gathering. Where is our holy church? It is here, it is now, and it is we who create the deep gathering. And by that I mean It is with those of us who gather together in this community, in this congregation. It is not one of the 7 Unitarian Universalist principles. They're important, but they are not our shelter. They are not our safety, and they are not our wholeness, our holy church. The anxiety, the frustration, the despair, the gap between ourselves and others, the separation we feel from our best selves cannot be overcome or helped by religion. It is overcome in the community of love, the memory of those brought together in love. We are reconciled in the church, bringing, as we do, the different pieces of our lives to share with one another. Of course, we can't confuse church with religion. My old friend John Wolfe had a theory that religion is actually the enemy. I've studied it. I love discussing it, but I do not like it, and I certainly do not trust religion. On the other hand, I love churches. I love them so much that it distresses me greatly when they get too involved in religion. Now, I've been in ministry too long to venture platitudes upon anyone on whom the shadow of death has fallen. When life goes out of a person, it is an offense to hear the living talk about it. One communicates one's concerns in subtler ways. One does not speak of religion. One does not talk about God's plan. Or this is how providence works. One does not haul out old doctrine and try to come up with a theological justification, but one should, one could, one might even try to say as unobtrusively as possible, I am from the church. I do not say I am from the first church. I do not say I am a Christian. I do not say I am a humanist. I do say I am from a community of love. There are no certain rules when the world starts to fall apart around you. You need shelter. You need safety, and you need wholeness. You need a new center, and you need to be surrounded by love, not, never, religion. The church, you see, is not a body of doctrines or reasons or of explanation. It is a community of those who have known the deepest valley, who have passed through it to the other side. They have not been lost or embittered in the passage. Instead, they have been taught compassion, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, and self-control. That is the fruit of the Spirit. The church is not a place of right convictions, a fortress of truth, a bastion of theology spoken in long sentences, though I could do that. The church is a community of those who have suffered the most grievous loss and lived through it. By word and deed, In the church, we reveal in the subtlest way what true compassion is, and joy and peace and long suffering. Religion is the enemy. I sometimes wonder that the church survives it. If there was ever a time to remind ourselves where our holy church is, it is now. And that's why, in our closing hymn, it is just right to let it show us, if we will allow it to, what the church is. Sure. The tune is old, it's stodgy, it was written in 1551. So the tune's been around for a while. But sometimes the old tunes are the best. But sometimes they are enlivened. They are imbued with what it means to come together in love. Lyricist Edwin Henry Wilson was a Unitarian Universalist minister and one of the founders of the New Christian and New Humanist magazine. And he was critical in shaping how religion should be thought of, the idea that religion should be thought of as the church and not theology. And here's something that's cool. It's also good to process theology. It's nice when the church actually has some connection with theology. It's in us. It is in our relationship. It's in our actions. We need to remember that the community of love, of safety, of wholeness, is here. It's with us. And that our call is to break the captive's bonds, to build principle and ethical character, to aspire to beloved community, to free our minds and souls, to create the holy. The anxiety, the frustration, the deep despair between ourselves and others, the separation we feel from our center, our shelter, our love, cannot be overcome by religion. It is overcome by the community of the broken, the communion of hope. It is in the church where we are reconciled, bringing to it as we do the pieces of our lives, if not our lives in pieces. And we bring it to share with one another. It's on every one of us, each one of us, to create our new center, our shelter in the storm. Only we can create the Holy Church, because it is us.
shelter, and our homes awaits us here. Benedictus, benedicat, may those of us who are blessed bless the Lord. Amen.